Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 17 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 20 brand new Halloween themed craft projects in 20 days. Today's project is something a little bit different that you might not have seen before, and it's using a special kind of material called window cling. Window cling, as you can probably guess, clings to windows, which means we can make beautiful Halloween displays for our homes. And here it is. It's hard to show on the camera, but you can see the window cling in there. It looks beautiful. When light shines through it, it goes all rainbow colours. As well as this, you also get lots of little bubbles that will come out so you can layer them up your whole window to really enhance the bubbling potion effect. Here's a little look at how it looks on the window in my craft studio, and the great thing is it looks amazing from the outside and from the inside because it's decorated on both sides of the cauldron. If you've never used window cling in your craft projects before, don't worry, it's really easy to cut with a Cricut. You don't need any special blades or special tools or anything like that, just your regular Cricut blade will cut it beautifully. I'll show you exactly where to find it, the different types of window cling you can get, and of course, how to make this cauldron project. Let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Halloween Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/HCC25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/HCC25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Halloween Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. Or purchase just this design at craftwithsarah.com/products. To find the designs from this countdown, click into the Occasions filter and choose Halloween. The designs will appear here each day once they become available to buy. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. For this project, we're going to be using window cling behind the cauldron to fill in all the gaps so that it will shine through lovely rainbow colours into your home. I first started using window cling last year for the Christmas Craft Countdown for these nativity windows, and you can see it a little bit in here. It's really hard to show because it's clear, but it's this kind of plasticky material that's tacky on one side. For these, I didn't use the tackiness, we just covered it up and had these as sort of freestanding displays. But for the cauldron, we'll be using the tackiness to put them on the window, as you're supposed to do with window cling. But you loved these nativity windows last Christmas, so I thought it'd be really, really fun to use the window cling in a new way for something different for this Halloween project. I bought the window cling I'm using on Amazon here in the UK, but there are lots of places you can get it. The brand I've bought is Rabbit Goo. That's a strange name, but again, there are lots of different ones, and it's called Window Film. There are lots of different colours and styles that you can get, so I'll show you a couple. The one I'm using, I think it's this one. Yeah. So this one is the kind of stained glass effect. It's a little bit like vinyl in that it comes with a backing sheet as part of it. When you cut it on your Cricut mat, you'll cut the whole thing, so you'll cut through the backing as well. I'll show you that a little bit later. But when you peel the backing off, that's when you end up with the film, and it will be tacky on the side where it was covered over. So this is this one with this sort of stained glass pattern. When the natural light comes through, it kind of gets rainbow, almost holographic-y colours in all of the different pieces. It's not really showing up on my camera though, unfortunately. So that's one type, and then we've got this one, which is very similar. Haven't used this one yet. So it's the same kind of pattern, But this one is, they called it silver. So this one was rainbow. This one is silver. So instead of it showing rainbow colours, it's going to show little bits of a silvery colour through when the light goes. It's almost like a mother of pearl effect. I can see it in real life, but I don't think it's really picking up on the camera. Or if you want to go bold, you can also get different patterns and different colours. I've got this one here, which still has that sort of stained glass pattern in it, but it's also got printed colours and this grid. I'm not sure this would work too well for the cauldron because the lines would look a little bit strange, but if you happen to have some like this already, you could certainly give it a try. The window cling I'm using comes on a roll, so what I did was I cut some to roughly 12 by 12 size, just with a pair of scissors so that it would fit on my Cricut mat. When you put it on your Cricut mat, you've got two options. You can either cut it so that you're cutting the plasticky side, which is the actual side of the material, upwards. And when I do it that way round, and it works fine, but that does mean that it's a slight uneven texture because of that stained glass pattern. So if you're finding that it's struggling to cut, what you can do in Design Space is mirror the image. I mean, for this cauldron, you don't actually have to because we're cutting the front and the back and it's symmetrical the same both sides. But if this was any other window cling project, you would need to mirror it. And then you can cut it from reverse instead and cut through the backing material. And that's a bit flatter, so it could be easier for your blade to cut through. I used the heavy cardstock setting for this and it seems to work just fine. If you're finding that your Cricut isn't cutting through on that setting, then use the craft board setting, and that's craft with a K. That's a very deep cut, so you should find that that cuts through a little bit better, and you'll only need your regular Cricut blade for this. You don't need any fancy kinds of blade to go in your Cricut. Don't peel the backing off of the window cling until you're ready to put it on your window. We'll cover that when we're going through putting the cauldron together, and that's because if you took the backing off now, then it means you've got chance for dust or debris or even just fingerprints to get on that tacky bit, and then it can stop it sticking quite so well to the window. So we're gonna do a few little tricks to try and keep that tackiness as long as we possibly can. Alright, so now that was quite a long-winded introduction to window cling. Let's go to Design Space and see how to load in the file. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG into Design Space. Open up Cricut Design Space and start a new project, then go to Upload over on the left and then Upload Image. You can then either browse to find a file on your computer or drag and drop it in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and then within there look in 01 Cricut version. If you're using a Silhouette or a scanning cut, head to craftwithsarah.com/help, choose your type of machine from the list of options on the screen, and there are separate videos in there on which file is best to use for your type of machine. But for Cricuts, we're in the 01 Cricut version, and there's one file in there that starts SVG-01 in the file name. Click and drag that in, and this is what it looks like. Press continue and then upload. And that will insert the design onto your canvas. You can close out the window on the left with the arrow that appears about halfway down the page. You'll notice for this screen that it looks different to how it's looked on every other video for this Halloween craft countdown. I'm recording this on the 20th of August and my Design Space has just updated to a new version which looks quite different to how it looked before. I do have a separate video on how to use this new version of Design Space. I'll drop the link to that in the description of this one. You'll notice that there's an exclamation mark showing me an error, and when I click on that it says that this is too big. This is a bug in this particular version of Design Space. It was also present in the previous version too. Basically what this is doing is it's taking the size of the whole thing together, so both of these cauldrons, which is coming in at just over 24¼ and 16¾ inches tall, and it's telling you that that's too big to cut. Well, yes it is, but the problem is we're not actually going to be cutting anything that size because it all comes up into pieces. To get rid of that error, select it and then ungroup the layers, and then have a look down to make sure there aren't any other groups that are still showing that error, but it looks good now. So now that we've ungrouped it, it understands all our pieces are separate and everything is small enough to cut on our Cricut machine. Let's take a little look at what we've got. The reason that there are 2 copies of the Cauldron is so that one is for the front of the window cling, so you'll see that when you're in your house looking at your window, and the other version is for the back of the window cling, so if somebody is stood outside looking in, I mean hopefully someone's not stood outside looking in your windows, but you know what I mean, if they're walking past and happen to notice all your lovely decorations, then they'll be able to see the details on the Cauldron as well. The blue layer at the bottom is the one that will be cut from the window cling. So remember, when you're cutting this out, when you see the light blue, that means window cling. There's nothing to change on here. You can resize it if you want to, bigger or smaller. To do that, we need to select everything, and the select all button has gone from this version of Design Space, which is very annoying because I use that all the time, but there is still a way to do it. To select everything, you can press Ctrl and A on your keyboard on a Windows computer or Command A on a Mac. That will select everything. You see that's now all selected. Then I can group it again and resize either by dragging the corners, or I could use the width and the height at the top of the page. Make sure you check to see if that exclamation mark error has come back if you're regrouping. Mine hasn't, so that's good. But I'll do mine at the original size, so let's undo that. When you're happy with how everything's looking, press Make to begin the cut process. That will separate out all the pieces. To cut it at the size it loads in at, you will need 12 by 12 cardstock. When you're cutting out the black pieces, be very careful that you don't accidentally throw away the 2 little bits that go in the top. You will need them, and that's on both the front and the back version of the Cauldron. So just be careful when you're cutting it that you keep those little pieces. We've got the flames for the red. The green is the outside to make the potion and the bubbles. And then finally, the blue is for the window cling. As I said at the beginning, I use the heavy cardstock setting for my window cling, but depending on the exact brand and thickness you're using, you may need to play about with your settings until you find something that works for you. I've now got all the pieces of my Cauldron cut out and ready to put together. I'll be gluing all the bits together with Barely Art glue, but I also like Halal. The reason I like these glues is it doesn't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. I've got my window cling here and it's so hard to see on my white table. So I'm going to add in a sheet of coloured card just so that you can see it better. You don't need to have a bit of card like this. It is literally just so that you can actually see what I'm doing, which will probably be quite helpful for you. Alright, so it's showing up a little bit better now. As we saw earlier, your window cling will probably have a protective layer on it. You need to work out what side is the protective layer. So for me, I've got a front layer here, which I can feel all the little nodges, I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but all the little gaps in between these shapes on the design. And that's the front of mine. And then on the back, it's got a white sort of semi-transparent sheet on it. It's quite matte to touch, and this is my backing. A way to tell is to start trying to peel the 2 layers apart. You may need a weeding tool or something similar for this. So go in one of the sides and just kind of start to take them apart. And then you'll be able to see which is which. Oh, I just dropped it again. It will stick back down when you drop it because it's tacky. There we go. Alright, so I'm peeling it up. I can see that this side here is my plasticky sheet of the window cling. This side that I'm peeling away doesn't have any of that decoration on it. It's just plain. So that's my backing. Once you know which side is your backing, put it backing side down on your work surface. So this is the front of my window cling. It is not the backing protection. And then we'll be gluing the pieces onto this side first. The reason we're doing this side first is we want to keep the back side with its protection on as long as we possibly can. And then we've got the pieces. Got the black, which will go on first. Then we'll stick on the green. And then we've got some little black pieces to go to fill in the rest of the cauldron, and then the fire on the end. Okay, so first step, glue this on. Just checking that I've got this the right way around. Yeah, that is looking right. So there's a little wiggly bit on the frame here. That should be on my right hand side, which it is. So that's great. Okay, turn it upside down. Add some glue. This is kind of a tricky project to design because originally we had it with lots more details on the front of the cauldron, a big pattern in here and loads of different coloured flames. The problem was it was then too heavy with all the cardstock that the window cling wasn't strong enough to keep it held onto the window. So it was a process of elimination, trying to take out as much of the cardstock as we possibly could to make it as light as we could so that it will stay stuck up. So when you're cutting it, a little bit late now, I should have said this earlier, but when you're cutting it, if you use lightweight cardstock or even coloured paper instead of card, that is actually a good thing for this project because it will make it lighter. Okay, line this up. Probably going to get glue on this piece of cardstock and ruin it. Never mind. It's worth it so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, I have. Look, glue everywhere. I am a messy crafter. Okay, there's that. And then we're going to get the green bit that's got the bubbles that match the outlines of the bubbles on here. This will tuck in against the sides of the cauldron here and then overlap a little bit on the front. So tuck that in, push down to stick, and there'll be a little bit of overlap along that ridge. And then find those little pieces that I said to make sure you didn't lose. You got a little bit that will slot in there on top of the window cling, so just this bit, and then this longer bit that will slot into the gap there. Glue both of these on. I'm going to put the glue straight on like this. Then we've got the flames for along the bottom. Oh, my two flame pieces have got a little bit tangled. They're a little delicate. Alright. Which way round are we going? I think I've got that upside down. And possibly it's that way. There we go, that looks right. It doesn't really matter which way around you put it as long as you do it the same on the back of the design so that they'll line up and match up against each other. But it should go in so that you've got the corners of the red, the edges here will touch up against the black of the outline. That bit does not want to stay stuck. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, that was stuck in there. Okay, this is where I'm definitely going to get glue all over the red. As in this red. Carefully pick up the flames. Bring this back. Glue it down. This is a little tricky because it is so thin. An alternate for this would be to cut this piece from adhesive vinyl and then you could just stick it on like a sticker rather than having to put glue on it. I don't think I've quite put that in the right position, but it still looks fine. Gonna go with it. Alright, while the glue on that is drying, we can do the bubbles. I've already done most of them. I've just got one left to show you. The nice thing about these bubbles is you can position them wherever you want on your window. So you can spread it out to take up a lot of space or put them close together if you don't have a very big window. Once again, we're going to work out which side to glue down first, the non-backing paper side. The bubbles are slightly smaller than the green bits of card to give you some wiggle room for lining it up. And then before we stick the back on, which is the matching one in the same size, so it'll look pretty both inside and out, we need to take the backing off. Once you take the backing off, you're exposing the tackiness, and that means it will then start getting fingerprints and dust and dirt and everything on it. So what you should do is keep the backing that you take off, don't throw it away, so that we can place it over the top to keep this as clean as we can. Almost like with a cricket mat, you know, you've got the protective plastic sheet on the top that you keep putting back on to keep it clean. What you could do, which would be best, but it will limit sort of when you're crafting, is you can put the front of this together whenever you like, but you could do the back bits just before you're ready to put it on your window, and then you'd know that it will stay nice and tacky when it goes onto the window. But it should be fine to leave it, as long as you keep the backing. You know what I've done? I've stuck it on the wrong way. After all that I said about checking, stuck the backing on. Right, let's try that again. So I messed this one up. I did all of my test, all of the other bubbles, I did absolutely fine. The one I do on camera, I don't do fine. Typical. Alright, well, I'm just going to be quiet now. Finish this off by sticking the other side on. Oh dear. That's what I get for talking too much and not paying enough attention to what I'm actually doing. Okay, so that will go on to sandwich the window cling in place. And then whichever side is your tacky side, which for me is this one, get your backing and just put it back on. Mine's now got glue all over it. Just place it over it until you're ready to put this on your window. And it will just help to keep it protected. Like that. And I'm now really hoping I haven't done the same thing on the cauldron. Let's see. I think I'm good here. Alright, so once again, yeah, I've done it fine on this one. I want to peel this off, and this will then release the tackiness. That was a satisfying noise. Keep that backing. And try your very hardest not to touch the tackiness part. If you're worried about how your cauldron is going to stay up, you don't have to stick the bits on the back. You could just put it up on your window like this. It's just not the prettiest from the outside because you'll see all of your edges and your glue marks and things like that. But if you're only really worried about it looking great from the inside of your house, you could just put it up straight like this. I'm going to continue adding the details. We'll do it the same way. So black first. This time all the shapes will be the opposite way around, like a mirrored image of the ones on the front. And I've got the potion to go on top. And then we've got the two little teeny tiny bits to fill in here. Now I've got my nemesis, the flames, but this time it's a little easier because you can add the glue to where you see the flames on the other side and then just line it up. And that's the cauldron bit finished. And then if you haven't already, go ahead and finish off all the other bubbles, making sure to get the backing the right way round, not like what I did. Okay, so then if this was ready to go straight on your window, what works best is if you get a little paintbrush, or you can use your finger if you don't have a paintbrush, but then you are risking putting fingerprints on it. A paintbrush works best, or a cotton bud, a bit of cotton wool, a sponge, anything that you can put onto here without getting your fingerprints on it. And dab it in a tiny bit of water, and then put some water on the bits of the tacky window cling that you can see, being careful to avoid the cardstock, otherwise the water will damage it. Just a little tiny bit, it doesn't need to be a lot, but that will help the tackiness stick to your window. And also give your window a good clean before you put it on. Give it a spray with some Windoline or something like that. Give it a wipe down with a microfiber cloth, because if there's any dirt or dust or debris on your window, that can also stop it from sticking. And when you stick it, you'll be putting it on the inside of your window, so in the home. Don't put it on the outside, otherwise if it rains, all your cardstock's going to get ruined. We've done it so it's pretty on both sides, so you can put it up on the inside. It'll still look lovely to all those trick-or-treaters outside. If you're not quite ready to put this up, then grab your backing and place it back over the top to help protect all of that window cling. And there we go. Slight mistake along the way, but we got there in the end. And that is the window cling cauldron all done. I hope that you enjoyed this window cling project for day 17 of the Halloween Craft Countdown. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Halloween crafts and cricket fun. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 18 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!